guitarists, we have a choice over the sort of things that we want to practice. And I wanted to just show you a concept. I think I may have even done this with this lick before, but I was just practicing it again this evening, and it was kind of rediscovered as being new to me. When we learn licks, they're not necessarily things that we're going to remember forever, and they're not necessarily things that you need to try to remember forever. What I'd like to kind of suggest is the thing that Bob Reynolds, saxophone player, said. And he said, you know, you work on these things in the hope that one day they're sort of in the back of your mind playing somewhere. So I was taking this idea from Eric Johnson's SRV solo. In the middle of it, there is this lick which goes... So that's kind of the lick that I want to just talk about quickly today. So we start on the 9th fret on the D string, string skip up to the 7th fret on the B string, then down to the 7th fret on the E string, up to the 12th fret on the E string, and then down, 7, 9, and then follow the pentatonic down to 9, 7, down to the 9, and then we sort of position shift up. So then 11, 9, 9, 11, 9, 12, 9, 12, and then back all the way up to the G string, 11th fret, 9th fret. So this is step one. You learn this lick and you kind of figure out how to play it. You play it repetitively. You figure out what key it's in. We're in E major. It's mostly pentatonic except for that A there. You may even, you know, think about a song which you know which is in E aside from SRV and try and play that with it. Now the next step is to do that in other keys, right? So I would take a point as your reference. So we're starting on a B here, right, which is the 5th degree of our E major scale. If it's happening in E major, right, we're starting on the B. So if we're going to be doing it in another key, we can kind of use that relative distance. So I'm looking at the E here as my kind of reference point if I'm in E, and I'm seeing that my starting note is 3 notes below on the D string. So that's it in E. If we wanted to do it in D, same kind of thing, right? Okay, then do that in a few other keys, and what we're doing with this is making it so that this lick is no longer confined to being in E major. It's no longer confined to being just in a place like in an Eric Johnson tune. It starts to become something that's hopefully in our toolkit, right? So in B major, starting on the F sharp, right, so that didn't work. There's quite a big stretch there. Maybe up here might be better for B major. And then that was a too big a stretch there. In F sharp major, we'd be starting here, so same visualization. Okay, if we did it in D flat major, and you know, you might want to do this a bit more methodically and with a metronome even. And we're not necessarily trying to play this as fast as possible, but the idea is that we're getting our fingers used to doing this movement and seeing this opportunity in every key, essentially. So in A flat major, so this thing that we've only ever heard Eric Johnson play once in one song, we could play in basically now any song where we could see it as an opportunity in a major key or minor key or whatever, right? So that's nice. So the other idea is, what if we take the shape of that and the pattern of that? So I'm going to ignore the bit that's outside of the pentatonic scale, and so we can take the shape, and you could do this kind of bit by bit, and you can think, right, what if I move that, transpose that diatonically through the pentatonic scale? So the easiest way that I can think of to do this is to think about what's happening relative to the box shape. So if you've got your box shape, you're going, so you've got, you know, one side of the shape, the lower two notes, the lower one note, and then jump to the next box. So if you move that, you get this kind of thing, right? Yeah, some really cool sounds there. So you could take that as the shape. Hey. So I'm just taking the idea and letting the pentatonic kind of shape and the relationships remain the same, but just moving around. So slowly, and then, and then, and then, and then last one. Okay, and then we could try and get the whole kind of thing. So we kind of notice each little part, and then we kind of jump up. Because I've done this already, I kind of know what I'm expecting. So you're kind of just taking each little part and moving it kind of like for like movements around the scale, so that you can put the parts together to make the full lick, but in a new kind of position. And it makes a new lick, right? And then you could go, or, you know, play it correctly. Okay, then another one here. And this one actually fits under the fingers quite comfortably. So that might be one that I actually kind of just try to join up. And you may find that you happen across some new kind of cool ideas. And what you've done is you've turned this one small idea there into 5 different licks kind of around the pentatonic scale, and then necessarily you could also move those into other keys, so you then have 5 times 12, which is more, isn't it? 60 different kind of licks that you can make out of this one kind of. You could turn it into this opportunity that you see all over the neck in all keys, you know, if you put the work in. So this is, I think, a much smarter thing to do than to learn 100 licks or 60 licks. Do this kind of work, because it's not just teaching you this lick, it's teaching you how to move things around the fretboard, it's teaching you how to see the pentatonic scale, it's doing all sorts of good things. I'll put together the Patreon kind of worksheet for this, but I think it's pretty much the most valuable thing you could do if you're bothering to learn licks, is to do this kind of exercise with them. Once you've got the kind of idea under your hands, then try and start to work it into some improvisation, maybe try and get them up to speed with the metronome. But don't forget, it is quite an involved little lick, and you've got lots of variations of it now, so you're going to need to experiment to find your way of playing it. So anyway, that's kind of my idea for what you should maybe consider doing when you're working on licks. Don't worry so much about the quantity of licks, but the quality of the work you're doing with them. Instead of just playing lots of different bits and pieces, try and get the most out of one piece of information. I'll catch you in another video soon. Hopefully that was useful, interesting or something. Leave a comment to let me know. Like and subscribe if you could, and I'll catch you in another video soon. Cheers. Patreon as well, you'll be able to get the sheet and the backing track. Cheers.